You are looking at the scene of a horrific crash, a scene so bad one veteran police officer says he's never witnessed anything like it before. 11 people are confirmed dead in the community of Hampstead. The wreckage, twisted metal, what's left of a passenger van and a tractor trailer. The vehicles collided just before 5 o'clock, sending the van careening into the side of a house. The side of the van completely ripped off, exposing the seats inside. As many as 13 people were believed to be in the van, possibly a group of migrant agricultural workers. Police say there were survivors, 3 who were rushed to hospital. This is where we are in Hampstead, about 30 kilometers west of Waterloo, just northeast of Stratford on Perth County Road 107 at Perth Line 47. Good evening and welcome to a special edition of CTV News at 11:30. We are just steps away from where tragedy unfolded just before 5 o'clock this afternoon, and we will bring you all of what we know. Beginning with CTV's Joel Bowie. Joel, the death toll here is absolutely staggering. What do we know about what's happened?
Only small pieces of it. We know that the heavy truck was moving straight through where we're standing here tonight. It was coming downhill, it was picking up speed. The van was coming the opposite direction. They collided, tumbled over each other, crashing into the house behind us with tragic consequences.
There were 13 people aboard the van, the impact so violent that 10 of them died at the scene. 3 survived.
The investigators are still trying to determine where the people were in the vehicle that survived. We believe the driver is deceased, though.
The driver of the truck that hit them was also killed. It's gruesome even for those prepared for the worst.
I've been on the job for 28 years and I've never seen anything quite like this collision tonight, with 11 people killed in one crash.
The people in the van were migrant workers, employees of a chicken operation. It's not clear where it's based.
I don't know what language they were speaking, though.
The crash happened in a very remote part of Perth County. We've been talking with farmers up and down the rural road here all night tonight. They were all working at the time. Only one person actually reports hearing the crash, but they all say it was very bright and the sun was low in the sky.
The intersection has a stop sign in the direction the van was traveling.
They could have gone through it or they could have stopped and pulled ahead. We have no idea at this point.
The identities of the victims are also unknown. Their bodies lay under tarps, spread out between the 2 vehicles in which they died.
One of those victims is the driver of the truck, and a short time ago, the company that employs him released a statement. It reads, "A Speedy Transport owner-operator, whose name is being respectfully withheld, was involved in a fatal collision in Hampstead, Ontario at approximately 4:45 Eastern Standard Time on February 6, 2012. Per our correspondence with the OPP, a passenger van traveling westbound on Line 47 carrying multiple occupants failed to stop and was struck by our vehicle traveling south on County Road 107. Per the officer, the Speedy Transport driver tried to avoid the passenger van, but was unable to do so, resulting in his own death. Our thoughts and prayers are with our driver's family and the families of the other victims involved in this horrible tragedy. And it is a horrible tragedy, just so many victims here tonight and so many families going to be hurt by this.
Absolutely, Joel. We're also hearing from one person who was one of the first people here at the scene after this happened, who actually heard this crash happen.
Yeah, he was working in a tool shop just a short distance away from here, and he heard the crash and he rushed out. He saw the van that's perched up against the house here, and there were people inside of it. He went around, he was trying to feel their pulses, he wasn't having much success. He says that he heard from the back of the van someone calling, "Help me, help me." He couldn't get to the person he couldn't help. There was just so much destruction and so many bodies there, and all he could say to the person was, "Help is coming, help is coming," and of course it did, but for so many people it was just too late.
Okay, an absolutely horrific scene. We do know that 3 people survived this crash. 2 of them were taken to Stratford General Hospital. CTV's Nadia Matos was there. Nadia, do we know anything about who these victims are?
Well, there isn't a lot of information about the survivors, but OPP did give us some insight. We're told that 2 people were transported to Hamilton General Hospital. One other person was airlifted to Hamilton General Hospital. In all 3 cases, we don't know their conditions. Earlier in the press conference, OPP suggested those involved were most likely working in the area. Multiple sources are reporting that the victims were working in the poultry industry.
We've been told they're migrant workers, but I don't have the details at this point. As I said, they're migrant workers. It is a large van, but I haven't gone down to have a look at any equipment down there.
Now, police say they don't know when they can confirm the identities of those 10 people who died. Their names are not being released until the family has been notified.
All right, thanks very much, Nadia. And Premier Dalton McGuinty also released a statement about this accident tonight. Here's a little bit of what he had to say. In it, he says, on behalf of 13 million Ontarians, I want to offer our deepest condolences to those who lost a loved one and to offer our most sincere prayers for those taken to hospital. He also goes on to thank the first responders who provided compassionate emergency care and who were here first at the scene. Let's bring in CTV's David Emery now. David, so many unanswered questions tonight. We were talking a little bit about the weather, clear conditions today. What do we know about factors that may have caused this crash?
Yeah, certainly clear conditions here, Megan, and we're told that because of the timing, the sun was setting. It would have been just to the left of the viewpoint of the driver of the van. It's unclear yet, though, as to whether or not weather factors and the sunshine in particular had anything to do with this horrific crash.
Do we know anything about the safety of these vehicles, maybe specifically the people that were inside them? We did hear an OPP officer mention something about seat belts earlier today.
Yes, once again, we don't have too many details about the van. It was a 15-passenger van. Seating for 15, there should be passenger seatbelts for 15 passengers. We are told by the OPP officers, by the emergency workers at the scene here, that seatbelts had to be cut to free some of the victims of this collision.
Okay, let's talk a little bit about what's next. We're told the coroner is here at the scene. What are police doing and when are they hoping to release the scene?
Well, it's going to be quite some time yet. I'm told that OPP expect this scene to be curtailed to traffic, to be locked down in essence, until at least noon tomorrow. The bodies remain here. The OPP are now trying to notify the next of kin of the victims. I'm told that a few people have been notified, but they are still trying to reach some of the other victims. So it's going to take quite a while yet to clear up the scene here, to conduct the investigation and to reopen this intersection to traffic.
All right, thanks very much, David Emery. So there you have it. 11 people have been killed in this horrific crash. 3 of them have survived. That's it for us here at the scene. Let's send it back to Rosie Del Campo in our newsroom. Rosie.
CTV's Megan Furman live in the hamlet of Hampstead, west of Waterloo. Thanks, Megan. We'll check in with Megan a little later on in the newscast. Updating our top story, 11 people are dead, 3 others in hospital after a horrific crash in Hampstead, west of Waterloo. CTV's Megan Furman is anchoring our coverage from the scene. She joins us now. Megan.
Well, Rosie, just a devastating scene here and a very difficult night in the tiny hamlet of Hampstead. Confirmed are 11 people have been killed in this horrific 2-vehicle collision between a van and a heavy truck. 3 others have been taken to hospital with life-threatening injuries. 10 of the victims are believed to be a group of migrant agricultural workers. So many questions here tonight, but it is early and police are at work here at the scene.
The investigation itself is still underway. As you can see behind me, the technical collision investigators from Western Region are working on the crash scene, as well as the coroner's on scene as well. We are going to continue with this investigation throughout the night.
And so the coroner is still on scene here tonight, and it looks as though police and emergency crews will be removing the bodies quite shortly. Again, a lot of unanswered questions here, and of course, most importantly, very many grieving families that are going to bed tonight with lost loved ones. Rosie.
Thanks, Megan. And we will have much more on this story tomorrow, beginning on Canada AM and on CTV News at noon.